Days of Our Lives. Apology at John Black's funeral. The recent death of John Black has cast a heavy shadow over its residents. For Bo Brady, the grief is compounded by a crushing sense of guilt, as John's death was the price paid to save Bo's life. In a heart-wrenching moment at John's funeral, Bo falls to his knees before Marlena Evans, begging for forgiveness in a scene that stuns Salem's tight-knit community. A hero's sacrifice and Bo's awakening. The saga of Bo Brady's return to Salem is a tale of miracles and heartbreak woven into the fabric of Days of Our Lives' rich history. Bo, presumed dead after a brain tumor diagnosis, was secretly kept in stasis by the villainous Megan Hathaway, Miranda Wilson. Revived and cured, he fell under Megan's mind control, leading to a tragic confrontation where his son, Sean Brady, Brandon Beamer, shot him to protect Hope Brady, Christian Alfonso. The incident plunged Bo into a coma, leaving his family in despair for years. Against all odds, Bo awoke from this coma in early June 2025, a moment that brought tears of joy to his loved ones and fans alike. However, this miracle came at a devastating cost. Unbeknownst to Bo, his awakening was tied to the sacrifice of John Black, a man he considered a brother. John, a former ICE agent and private investigator, risked everything to secure Versavix, a rare and experimental drug critical to Bo's recovery. Posts on X from fans like @Ariet_Alp and @BadEclis reveal the emotional weight of this plot twist, noting that John died a hero, saving Bo's life in a final act of selflessness. John risked his life to save Bo. What an extraordinary man he was, shared at Joy School 1981, capturing the sentiment of viewers who admired John's unwavering courage. For Bo, the joy of reuniting with his wife, Hope, his daughter, Sierra, Victoria Conifal, and his grandchildren is overshadowed by the crushing news of John's death. The revelation hits him like a tidal wave, stirring memories of their shared adventures. Battling villains like Stefano Di Mera, supporting each other through personal losses, and standing as pillars of strength for Salem. Bo's heart aches as he grapples with the reality that his life was bought with John's, a burden that weighs heavily on his soul. A town in mourning, Salem is no stranger to grief, but John Black's passing feels like the loss of a guiding light. As a man who survived countless dangers, from espionage missions to demonic possessions, John was a symbol of resilience. His death, reported in Spoilers to have occurred in early June 2025, sends shockwaves through the community, drawing friends and family to gather for a funeral that promises to be a landmark moment in the show's history. The event is not just a farewell to John but a reflection of the bonds that tie Salem together even in the face of sorrow. For Bo, the funeral is a reckoning. He has already mourned the losses of Victor Kiriakis and Doug Williams, two towering figures in Salem's history, but John's death cuts deeper. Victor, played by John Aniston, passed away in a plane crash, leaving a legacy of power and complexity. Doug, portrayed by Bill Hayes, died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones, a fitting end for a man who brought warmth to the Horton family. Yet John's death feels personal to Bo, a wound that festers with guilt. Bo is going to be devastated when he finds out John died saving his life, wrote @KeenamicG on X, echoing the sentiments of fans who anticipate Bo's emotional turmoil. The funeral also brings Rachel Black, Alice Halsey, John's adopted daughter, into the spotlight. Rachel, who has experienced prophetic dreams in recent storylines, is shattered by the realization that her vision of John's death has come true. Her grief adds another layer of tragedy, as she struggles to reconcile her love for her father with the cruel twist of fate that took him away. For older viewers, Rachel's pain may resonate deeply, recalling the universal experience of losing a parent and the longing to hold onto their memory. Bo's guilt and the weight of survival. As Bo processes John's sacrifice, guilt becomes his constant companion. Every smile from Hope, every hug from Sierra, every moment with his grandchildren feels like a gift he doesn't deserve. The knowledge that John, a man with a family of his own, Marlena, his soulmate, and their children, Belle, Brady, and Eric, gave his life for Bo's is almost too much to bear. Bo replays the events in his mind, wondering if there was another way, if he could have fought harder to survive without John's intervention. Why him? Bo whispers to himself in quiet moments, his voice breaking under the weight of self-reproach. This guilt is compounded by Bo's history of heroism. As a former police officer and private investigator, Bo has always been the one to save others, not the one who needs saving. The reversal of roles, John as the savior, Bo as the saved, shakes his sense of identity. He thinks back to their countless missions together, from rescuing loved ones to thwarting DiMera's schemes, and feels a pang of regret that he wasn't there to protect John in his final moments. The irony is not lost on Bo. John, who survived so many near-death experiences, met his end ensuring Bo's survival. Hope, ever the anchor in Bo's life, tries to ease his pain, reminding him that John's choice was an act of love, not a burden to carry. John believed in you, Bo, she tells him, her eyes filled with tears. He wanted you to live for me, for Sierra, for all of us. But her words, though heartfelt, struggle to penetrate the fog of Bo's grief. He nods, wanting to believe her, but the image of John's face, etched with determination in his final moments, haunts him. The funeral, a moment of reckoning. The day of John Black's funeral dawns gray and somber, mirroring the mood in Salem. The church, a familiar setting for the town's joys and sorrows, is filled with familiar faces: Marlena, her children, the Hortons, the Bradys, and longtime friends like Steve and Kayla Johnson. Flowers adorn the altar, and a portrait of John, capturing his warm smile and piercing gaze, stands as a silent tribute. The air is thick with emotion as whispered conversations and stifled sobs create a symphony of grief. Bo enters the church with hope by his side, his steps heavy with dread. He has avoided Marlena since learning of John's death, unsure of how to face the woman who lost her husband because of him. Marlena, elegant even in her sorrow, stands near the front, greeting mourners with a grace that belies her heartbreak. Her eyes, red-rimmed but resolute, meet Bo's across the room, and he feels a jolt of shame. How can he look at her, knowing his life cost her everything? As the service begins, tributes pour in for John. Brady speaks of his father's courage, Bell recalls his unwavering love, and Eric shares stories of John's quiet acts of kindness. Each word is a dagger to Bo's heart, a reminder of the man he can never repay. When Marlena takes the podium, her voice steady despite her grief, she speaks of John's selflessness, his belief in second chances, and his love for Salem. John lived for others, she says, her gaze sweeping the room. And he died for someone he loved like a brother. The words hit Bo like a physical blow. Unable to contain his emotions, he slips out of the pew and moves toward the front, his heart pounding. The congregation watches in stunned silence as Bo reaches Marlena, who has just stepped down from the podium. Without a word, he drops to his knees before her, his head bowed in anguish. Marlena, I'm so sorry, he chokes out, his voice raw with emotion. John died because of me. I don't know how to live with that. Please forgive me. The church falls silent, save for the sound of Bo's sobs. Marlena, her face a mask of sorrow and compassion, kneels beside him, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. Bo, John made his choice, she says softly, her voice trembling. He loved you. He wanted you to live. Don't carry this guilt, it's not what he would want. Her words, filled with grace, pierced the fog of Bo's despair, offering a glimmer of solace. The residents of Salem, watching this raw display of grief, are struck by the depth of Bo's remorse and Marlena's forgiveness. For older viewers, this moment may evoke memories of their own losses, the weight of guilt, and the healing power of compassion. I cried so hard, wrote a TV fan 101 on X, reflecting the emotional impact of the scene. They honored John perfectly. He was a hero until the end. Salem's reaction and the road ahead. Bo's public apology reverberates through Salem, sparking conversations in homes, at the Brady pub, and at Horton Town Square. Some residents, like Roman Brady, understand Bo's guilt, having faced their own battles with loss. Others, like newer faces in town, are moved by the strength of the bonds that tie Salem's families together. The moment becomes a touchstone, a reminder that even in tragedy, love and forgiveness can shine through. For Bo, the journey to healing is just beginning. Marlena's words, though comforting, cannot erase his guilt overnight. He vows to honor John's memory by living a life worthy of his sacrifice, being a better husband, father, and grandfather. With Hope and Sierra by his side, Bo takes tentative steps forward, carrying John's legacy in his heart. The funeral also sets the stage for new storylines. Rachel's grief and her prophetic dreams hint at unresolved mysteries, while Sierra and Ben's return with their children suggests a renewed focus on the Brady family's next generation. As Salem mourns John, the town braces for what lies ahead, knowing that in days of our lives, Every ending is a new beginning. A legacy of love and sacrifice. John Black's death and Bo Brady's heartbreak are more than plot points. They are a testament to the enduring themes of Days of Our Lives. For viewers over 65 who have watched Salem evolve over decades, this storyline resonates with the universal experiences of loss, guilt, and the search for redemption. Bo's apology to Marlena, raw and unguarded, is a moment of humanity that transcends the screen, reminding us all to cherish our loved ones and honor their sacrifices. As the sands of the hourglass continue to fall, Salem will heal, but John's absence will be felt in every corner of the town. Bo, forever changed by his friend's sacrifice, will carry forward with a renewed sense of purpose, determined to make John proud. For fans, the promise of more emotional twists and heartfelt reunions keeps the flame of Days of Our Lives burning bright, a beacon of storytelling that speaks to the heart.